This is the first part of Dredrick's Majin guide for Dragonball Xenoverse 2.
My name is Dredrick. I've been playing Majin since early in Xenoverse 1, and I made this guide after about 40 hours of playtime with the Majin in the Dragonball Xenoverse 2 beta. This guide is intended for new Xenoverse players still learning the game, all the way up to the advanced level players who may be interested in trying the Majin race. We'll begin with an overview of the Male Majin, followed by the basic and finally advanced combos. After that, we'll be going into strategies and techniques that you can use to dominate your fights. Let's begin.
But does this pudgy, pink, infant-like creature really have the power to put the planet in jeopardy?
On screen, you'll see the grade that I've given for each of the Majin's attributes. Majins have the highest HP in the game, as well as defense bonuses that will be discussed in detail later. For this category, they receive an unquestioned S grade, with only the Namekian coming close in defensive ability. Next, the basic melee attack strength. Majins have low all-purpose melee damage. However, before transformations are taken into account, they perform similarly to Saiyans and Earthlings. Also, because of how their primary attack strings work together, they're able to use their hardest hitting melee attacks very early in their combos, so I give them an average C grade for melee attack. For strike attacks, Majins perform at an average level. However, when grading on a curve against the other races, the Majin receives a B grade. They won't impress with strike super damage, however, several other races have very low strike abilities, making the Majin one of the better options available for a player that wants to use this kind of skill. Next, we have Ki Blast attacks. Male Majins have the lowest Ki Blast of any race in the game. However, it's not far below the other races. Their blast stat is only a little bit below average, so you can still use Ki Supers, and I regularly do. That being said, they have the lowest stat in the game, so naturally they receive a D grade for this attribute. Finally, we have the combos. This is up for interpretation, and some people may disagree with me, but I grade the Majin combos at an S level due to their ability to quickly enter high damage attacks, their incredibly powerful stamina break combos, and the fact that you can't vanish out of one particular Majin combo string, which may or may not be a bug. Overall, the pros of the Majin race are their incredibly high defense, their overpowering combos, and the uniqueness of this race. The cons of the Majin race are their underwhelming offense, the difficulty of playing them correctly, and the fact that the Majin can be killed by one attack at almost any point in the fight. There really is nothing else quite like them in the Xenoverse franchise, so if you're ready to become a Majin, then prepare yourself, and let's continue.
Majin Buu just keeps coming back for more.
So what makes the Majin so unique? Well, the Majin racial ability is a special kind of defense bonus that depends on your stamina. The exact bonus that gives you has not yet been accurately measured, but the amount of damage that you take is dramatically reduced, as you can see on screen. So how does it work? The mechanics are simple. Above 2 bars of stamina, the damage that you take is significantly reduced. The balance is that once you're below 2 bars of stamina, yeah, that happens. So you'll take massive increased damage to the point where a single super attack could potentially remove an entire bar of HP. If you're caught by your opponent in this state, you've most likely lost the fight. The Majin armor is the defining characteristic of the Majin in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. The ability to correctly manage your stamina, choosing when to use it, and more importantly when not to use it, will be the most challenging part of playing a Majin in this game. Once you learn to properly utilize this ability, however, you become a nigh unkillable force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. I'll teach you how to properly use the Majin armor later in the advanced strategies section of this guide. And that's it for part 1 of the guide. Make sure you join us in part 2 where we dive into combos, covering everything from basic attack strings all the way up to advanced combos that'll maximize your damage potential. And again in part 3 where I teach advanced tactics for the Majin and matchup specific techniques that'll take your game to the next level. See you there.